Mr. Parrish.
Here.
Ms. Staub. Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Mr. Bedrell.
Here.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
Ms. Miller, thank you. And Mr. Gauck.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time we'll open it up for public comments. Seeing none, do we have any agenda changes this evening?
We do not.
Okay, our first item we want to cover is the bus garage ag center conversion.
So, as I sent the bids out to you guys, you can see that they came in quite a bit higher. Just a couple notes. When I talked with the architect, we talked about the price per square foot for new, $275 a square foot, which if we wanted to rebuild that building, it would cost us about $1.1 million. According to that, renovation's about $125 a square foot. That puts it about $500,000. So this is, I don't want to say right in line, but this seems to be the cost of what this project's going to be. I'm disappointed that it came in that much higher. I did share with you a little information. About 143,000, a little over 143,000 are the windows and roof, so that'll come out of health, life, safety. 212 or so thousand is that transfer that we made for the bond and interest. So the money that we need to come up with that we did not have to use for something else is about $122,000, $123,000. So I don't know what questions you have. I know that I sent you information that Mike and I and the contractor, if approved, will sit down and talk about, is there areas that we can save? Is there something that we're doing that we can change to possibly save some money? Other than that, it's I mean, we do have the money, we do have in the funds. It's more than we wanted to spend. It's something that we do need. So it's just a matter of discussing.
Aren't there plans to have that up and going and have programs in the fall and all that?
Yeah, I mean, the plan was to have it going and having 2 classes in there in the fall. If it doesn't go through, then we'll have to rearrange. We'll have to have teachers float, probably at least 2 teachers floating. They won't have a classroom, so they'll be using other people's classrooms during the conference periods. So, yeah.
But that frees up if we put 2 in there, that frees up 1 also in this building?
No, all the classrooms would be used, even if we use those 2. So if we don't use those 2 classrooms, those 2 teachers would have to come in and find a spot, so they'd have to float.
I mean, though, the existing ag class, it's got a classroom here, that's available then to somebody else.
Correct.
For
We're-
next year,
Yeah,
and
so
those
the
2.
plans are to move the academic lab down there. Yeah, so that it would be used, not going unused, yeah.
So my question is, are you comfortable with spending this much money?
Well, besides the HVAC, I haven't spent this much money in this job, so. I mean, I trust our architect and the engineers that they put the specs together properly, and so, I mean, I think we need it. I think if we went and tried to find an alternative to build something or to add on, the cost would be that much higher.
I'm not saying we don't need it, I agree, we do need it, but I'm just, are you comfortable with that we're gonna?
That we have that money? Yes. Yeah.
And things coming in the years will kind of.
I am, and honestly, the biggest factor, I think, was that, whatever, a year and a half ago when we did that transfer from the bond and interest, it just got the $212,000. I was hoping to use that for other projects, but I think this is probably more important, lockers and paint and things like that right now. So, but that's kind of the saving grace for us, for me, for this project, I think.
So that some of the projects, when reading it right, trying to remember what was all going on this summer, they have to cut some of them out, or?
What I listed last month, we won't have to
Can't
cut.
remember what's on the locate.
We won't have to cut any of those, but we had talked about when we kind of passed a resolution for that, transfer. And so we talked about, new lockers was a big part of it, possibly, putting, new paint, around all the building. There was quite a few other things. I think we'd actually talked about using some of that for the, HVAC, which we didn't use it.
And locker rooms, I believe, were.
The lockers everywhere, right, we were gonna go through and redo all the lockers and, we can still try to do that, we're just gonna have to plan and, but I think this priority outweighs the priority of putting new lockers in. But as far as we still have, I put in that budget I gave to you, we still have, accounted for the respray of the track, for the gym floor, for the carpet in the south end that we're talking about doing this summer. The other thing that wanted to point out is that every year we put a $200,000 line item in the building and grounds, and that's for renovations and for improvements, buying equipment, things like that, and typically we spend about $50,000 to $70,000 of that. So that balance that's shown on that list is actually deflated quite a bit. It's gonna be higher because of that balance.
What is the $20,000 contingency allowance?
So that's, so if there's any overages, they build in $20,000 to cover that. So like the HVAC, it's usually 10% is what they build in. This year they just put in 20,000. The HVAC, I don't remember what it was, but we got it all back. So we didn't have any overages that took up that.
All right, so they include that in, and that's included in the 478?
Yes.
So it could come in at 458?
Could come in 458, could come in lower. Like the HVAC actually came in lower than what the bid was, 10,000 or something.
I mean, would we charge less then if
Yeah, we only get charged for what they do.
Because you're doing the prevailing wage.
yeah, so it's time and materials up too? Is that what?
Right, so
basically what
this-
it is?
So if we accept this company needs to do whatever's in this blue book for that price. And then there's a $20,000 contingency that they can't touch unless we and the architect approve that.
Okay.
Change orders.
Right. And so unless we go in and say, you know what, we want marble, or we want this.
Yeah.
And, otherwise that money is kind of a little buffer for us
Okay.
to go forward.
And your Mike is comfortable with this construction company?
So this is a newer construction company. The guy broke off, I think he said, from R&W Builders, who also bid on it. And so he's kind of started a little family outfit, so him and his son are running it. And he says this guy's been in the business for a long time and feels comfortable. And he spoke to him today, said the guy feels like he has everything covered in the bid. And there's no hidden.
When you deal with somebody like this that he's come in, I mean, are they bonded or something? or
Absolutely,
are
yes, they have to be bonded and insured. They have to put up a bid bond, so they have to put 10% down.
Okay.
And if they forfeit, we could make them, if they do anything wrong, we could make them forfeit their bid bond.
Okay. How is money released to?
They send,
To people, yeah.
they send completion, I don't have the right terminology, but they send that to the architect. The architect makes sure he goes through and makes sure they've completed those things, and they send it to us. We put it on our monthly bills, and then it comes to us and the consent agenda to be approved. So most of this stuff will probably not even be paid out until probably July or August.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
It's
so
more
most
just
of this
for
will
my
come out.
education on how I mean, it's not a, hey, I need 30% to get started with this
No,
project type.
No, it's, and again, it's like we talked, it's completely different than if I'm, trying to get my house done and
Mhm.
don't like the bids, I can go and start talking to more people. This is a process we have to follow.
The only question I have is, I see, looks like some in there, but we were working on a roofing, schedule. That doesn't impact that, does it?
Well, part of that, I took it out. I think there was an $80,000 line item in there that I took out and added the HVAC, and I'm sorry, the roof and the asbestos stuff that they're gonna do. But we're still looking to do those. And the next big one is the south end, and that was a 5-year or something. But then, once we talked to Mike, he said we could probably do it in a patch instead of replacing the whole entire roof. But again, not to jump the gun, but we're gonna have to probably, in the next year, start talking about the future and what we're gonna do with space. And, are we, once that south end, or the north end starts to get a little bit older, are we looking to do, are we gonna move this way, or do we wanna look to go up? Right now, the numbers look like we're gonna be able to contain everybody in this building, but, once those subdivisions gets going, we don't know. So one of the options, is always, in my opinion, is always look to go up. We have that, and so that would be my first thought. But I think that's something we need to start looking at probably the next couple of years, is what do we do?
Definitely along with the roofing. You don't want to put a roof on it and turn around and
No,
tear it off.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if we could, and he mentioned it's shrinking, as we mentioned, we could put a strip on the outside, kind of around the perimeter, and that would take care of that roof. I don't remember off the top of my head, I think there's a ramp maybe is the next one. I don't remember, I know it's a,
Is that right offhand?
no, I don't remember. So,
Any other questions or comments? This time, we need a motion.
I'll make the motion. That we move forward with a low bid on the bus garage rehab and new use work.
Motion. Do we have a second?
Second. I'm perfectly good because of second.
Dennis, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, do we have any board correspondence this evening?
we don't,
Any addenda items?
we do not.
Do we have a reason to go into closed
The
session?
purchase or lease of real property for the use of the district, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired.
Okay, do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Mr. Goff, motion, Mr. Madrell, second. Start with you, Mike.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we're gonna be in closed session. Closed session.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mike, second by Mr. Madrell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.